I reckon it's time for an update. I tried to post something last night, but Instagram isn't working right. It's been a cool couple days. Kansas City. We're going all the way back to Kansas City. So, Kansas City was really cool. It was a super fun show. We got to play with Matt and Melissa Weinman, who did, the weirdest stuff I've seen in a very long time. But it was like the fact that the lyrics weren't being made up at random and that they were like written, composed lyrics kind of blew my mind because they were just so out there and imaginative and funny, and they were great. They were some of the sweetest people I've met on this trip so far. Really just fun, brilliant, creative, sweet people. So that was really cool. No Internet Dinosaur, coolest song. You will not be able to find it anywhere. I also had some barbecue from formerly Oklahoma Joe's, which was great. Waited in line for it, ended up chatting with a lady in front of me. Of course, she's from Denver, so we ended up talking about that. Jesse James Tarpoon was awesome. He did kind of that like gravelly, dark Americana type of stuff, and it was really cool. He did some really cool covers too. He actually covered my friends from SS Web, and I sent the video of it over to Henry from SS Web. It's just funny that it worked out that way because we were originally supposed to do some shows together later on in the tour, but it didn't end up working out. And then I actually have uploaded that set to YouTube, and I don't know what I liked about the show so much. Shout out to Daisy B for sending me that video, by the way. Because the truth is it wasn't like an enormous crowd, and it wasn't like my best set or anything, but something about it was just like, I really enjoyed the banter. I enjoyed the crowd response. I enjoyed this moment where I played out of the wrong harmonica. It was very real and human and fun, and I really like the set a lot. So that is on YouTube now if you want to go check it out, live at the mini bar on my channel. And then after I got done, this band Woodridge played. They were a bunch of young guys from Manhattan, Kansas. I guess they're originally from Kansas City, and they've all been off at college in Manhattan. So a bunch of their friends and family came out, and it was like a homecoming thing for them. And they were really cool guys, really nice. It definitely helped with the draw for the night. Great, catchy love songs. They were cool. And yeah, like just the whole staff over there at Mini Bar was great. Then downstairs, they had a karaoke night in progress, and I love karaoke. So I headed down there. They had these fancy hot dogs that you could order, so I got a couple of those fancy hot dogs and some NA beers, and I signed up for my go-to, Brandy, You're a Fine Girl, and Melissa did Rapture by Blondie, and people are dancing and just having a good time. It was just a really great environment. I hung out for a bit, and then Tay's Uncle Jay lives in St. Joe. He's not there right now, but he is having a house renovated, so he left the keys out for the house that he's having renovated and told me I could stay there. And I showed up, and you got to remember, this is 2 o'clock in the morning. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, Jay's house under renovation in St. Joe, Missouri, it looked like I had received an inheritance from my uncle, but under one condition, that I had to survive a night in a haunted house. It was kind of spooky going in there at 2 o'clock in the morning. I managed to make my way through the dark house and into a room that they had set up for me, and actually got fantastic sleep. It was cool. It was comfortable. I ended up staying there for a couple of days, and that was great. The next day I went around St. Joe, blistering hot. It was so unbelievably hot, but spent the day in a coffee shop, kind of catching up on work that needed to be done. I went over to Magoon's Delicatessen on the recommendation of Jay and got to talking with Jerry, the bartender over there, and that was just a really cool experience. It's a cool old small town deli. I got the ham salad and a NA beer and hung out, and we just got to talking about music. And then he goes, "Hey, I got someone here I want to introduce you to." And he takes me out and introduces me to this guy, Tony, who is this classical guitarist who has made his living writing classical music textbooks for college. and sync licensing and stuff. And then there's this dude Mike there who runs a radio station in town, and we just get talking and getting all kinds of good advice. And Jerry goes, hell, if you want to bring your guitar in here and play a few songs, to get ready for your gig tonight, we'll let you earn some tips. So I brought in my guitar, I sat on the stage, I played like 6 or 7 songs, and folks at the bar gave me a few bucks, and it was a really nice experience. It was cool. And then I went to the actual gig at River Bluff Brewing. There are play gigs and there are work gigs, and this was definitely a work gig. Not that it wasn't fun. River Bluff Brewing is very cool. They got all these pinball machines. The people were really nice. Trent behind the bar especially, shout out to him. And I can't remember the gal bartender's name, I'm sorry. But they were just lovely and nice and very, very cool. And everybody I talked to was great. But I did a 3-hour set and did a lot of covers and whatnot. And at certain points, there was a KC Royals game on. So I ended up, being background noise for the most part for a lot of it. I got asked to turn down at one point. It's that kind of thing, which is fine. It's great. It's great practice. And, as you go and as you progress and you keep just kind of playing and moving along, people start to join in and they start to take an interest and people start to engage. Like there was a couple people there that, that I caught singing along, and then some friends of friends came in and to support, and tips were great. I had a bucket out and I did really well in tips, and they hooked me up with all the NA beers that I could drink, and I did leave my glasses behind though after I packed up, so I had to drive all the way back and get my glasses. But really cool place, really, really cool brewery, and really, really nice people. But it was work. It was a 3-hour set, and I don't take breaks when I do long sets. I don't like to kill the momentum, so I just kept going 3 hours straight. It was good. And then I drove into Memphis yesterday. Pretty good haul, about an 8-hour drive to Memphis from St. Joe. I got into town and I went to, what's the name of the place? It's Charlie Virgo's, Memphis. It's a charcoal rib joint, and they were great. Good dry rub ribs, charcoal ribs, kind of an old Memphis institution. I went over to the Stax Records Museum and checked that out, and it was just such an inspiring experience to just look back at that really short period of time that Stax Records was active, and just God, so many of the musicians. Otis Redding, just what a superstar Otis Redding was, and he died at 26. It just blew my mind. And I saw Isaac Hayes' gold-plated Cadillac. That was pretty sick. Just a really great experience. Just learned a lot going through there. And then I headed over to the High Tone. And this is where I want to get real with you. Tour is not all rock star experiences. In fact, there's very few of them, especially on this tour. It's a debut solo tour. I'm taking a big risk going out and doing this. And, a common thing that happens when you do tours like this is sometimes you play for nobody. And last night was one of those shows. I show up, Kofi and Crystal, who run the place, they're super sweet, they're awesome. But basically, I'm my own sound guy. I did have one of the managers came down and helped me at one point. But, waiting around to see if anybody shows. And unfortunately, I was unable to get local support. Everyone I reached out to for local support was either unavailable or, I just had trouble tracking people down. So it was just me. And by the time 8 o'clock rolled around and the show was supposed to start, I'm not going to go on. You always do the show. That's the thing. Even if it looks like it's going to be a dog of a show and it's going to be dead, you always do the show because you don't know what's going to happen. And your character is really going to shine through in those moments when the chips are down. And so I got up on stage. Kofi, the door guy, actually closed the door behind me because the venue is in a separate room. There's the bar and then there's the showroom, and he actually closed the door behind me, which was hilarious. So I'm literally in this room all by myself doing the show, except for when people would come in to use the restroom, which was on the other side of the venue side. And there's a kind of a pop-up sushi place that is upstairs, but they're all up there working, and they're really nice, but occasionally someone will come through, but that's it. And eventually the door got opened back up, so the sound was coming out of the showroom into the bar. So it's literally bartender, door guy, and then whoever happens to randomly walk down from the sushi spot upstairs. And I did the whole show. I did the whole hour and a half. I did all the jokes. I did all the banter. I did all my stories. I did the whole thing. And I felt really good about it. I played really well. And during the middle of the show, this gal, Kaylee, who works at the sushi joint, she comes through and goes, "Do you have any dietary restrictions?" And I say, "No, I have no dietary restrictions." And I get done, and she has just brought out this bag of goodies from the restaurant. Some of the best sushi I've ever had. It was like this spicy crawfish wrapped in salmon. It was amazing. I've still got some of the food in the fridge. And it was just the sweetest thing. And then I come out, and there's, this guy, Jonathan. He happened to be hanging out. He came in for a beer, didn't come in the showroom, but he's listening from the other room. And he ended up giving me a lot of great advice about New Orleans, which was great. And, Kofi and Crystal, they were very cool. And a few other people came down from the sushi restaurant after it closed and, asked how I liked the sushi and whatnot. And they were all really friendly. And the thing is if I had a bad attitude and decided to bail on the show or decided to stand on stage and just phone it in, none of that would have happened. I wouldn't have gotten the delicious meal. I wouldn't have gotten the love and the praise and the friendship. I can't tell you how many times I've been paid by a venue who didn't owe me money because they appreciated that I showed up and did the job, or that the band showed up and did the job. You always do the show, no matter what. It's just part of the thing. Sometimes it goes that way. You know what I mean? I've never been to Memphis before. I didn't come here because I'm trying to break into the Memphis market. I came here because I wanted to go to Memphis and I wanted to try it out. So that's what happened in Memphis. So today, I've actually got a little spate of days off. Just some things didn't materialize, So I'm getting ready to go into Clarksdale, Mississippi today. I've got a room at this place called the Shack Up Inn. I will make sure I post some pictures and videos from that. But yeah, I'm having a great time. I'm still really enjoying myself. I'm going to go to this kind of famous donut place in town and do that. And yeah, man. So anyway, further bulletins as events warrant. Thanks for following, guys. Love ya.